Hello, and welcome to the 2021 version of Firearms Friday at the Wyoming State Museum here in Cheyenne. My name is Evan Green. I'm the volunteer firearms historian here at the museum, and for the last 3 years, I guess, since 2018, I've been assisting the staff with updating the inventory on the firearms that we have in the permanent collection and sharing those firearms with viewers of this video series who are interested in some of the guns that we have in the collection. And today we're going to talk about British Bulldogs. Well, what was a British Bulldog? Well, we have two really nice examples here. In 1872, Philip Webley developed a Bulldog revolver. And these, within a very short time, became the most popular and most purchased handgun in the British Empire. Why was it so popular? Well, for one thing, it is a 5-shot revolver. It is much smaller than the contemporary Colts, Smith & Wessons, Webleys of that era. Again, 1872, which was approximately the same time as the Colt single-action Army was developed. Actually, 1873 for that Colt, but it's a big gun. And this one, it's relatively concealable. You can put this in your coat pocket or the pocket of your pants, and nobody knows that you're healed. It is, in most cases, a 44 or 45 caliber. So it's a man-stopper. It is a serious cartridge, particularly at close range when this type of firearm was put to use. And you'll notice that it has that British Bulldog name stamped on the top of the revolver. In reality, within a few years of the introduction of this type of revolver by Webley and Son, in Birmingham, England, this was being copied by Belgian gun makers, and there's speculation that as many as 100 different firms in Belgium were making this type of revolver, these small, handy, 5-shot, large caliber revolvers. And they continue to be popular today. The Smith & Wesson J-frames, Taurus, Charter makes a small pocket revolver similar to this. Colt had the Detective Special and the Agent and the Cobra, which were small 6-shot revolvers for the most part. So these were very, very popular. And when they were introduced into the United States, they became popular here. Again, you could have this as a backup to your major belt gun, your Colt or your Smith & Wesson Schofield. Have it as your only gun if you were a banker or a gambler or whatever and needed a small, handy firearm. It's kind of a unique operating system. You'll notice that it has this loading gate on the side so that you would load the cartridges one at a time. There's 5 cartridges. And then when it came time to eject, this small pin under the barrel would come out, and it could be then rotated over to eject the cartridges from the chamber. So kind of a clever design and very useful. There's some evidence that Custer may have had a pair of British Bulldogs as his revolvers at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. So this one in particular, although I suspect it is a Belgian-made revolver, because the English makers typically did not put the British Bulldog stamp on that top strap. So probably Belgian, but this is a really nice one. The wooden grips are nicely shaped, checkered. And it's in excellent condition. The nickel plate is almost entirely intact. There's a little bit of subtle engraving around the screw heads. And it appears that the screw heads and ends were fire blued, which was a process that created a really nice, almost luminescent blue finish to the metal. And this one, again, the majority of the firearm is nickel-plated, and that was preferred in those days because it was the most durable finish in an era when black powder and the residues from firing black powder were hygroscopic. They attracted water and led to corrosion if you weren't able to clean and maintain your firearm on a daily basis whenever you used it. So again, this is a really nice example of that British Bulldog. We have another one here which is interesting in its own right. It has the same mechanism for loading and unloading, and the same stamp on the top that says British Bulldog. And you'll notice that this one is covered with engraving, except for the barrel. But it is not of the quality that you see on the smaller engraving of the other revolver. So this was probably a more inexpensive or less costly version, although there are no visible proof marks. Again, this is without doubt a Belgian revolver. And literally hundreds of thousands of these were imported into the United States. Forehand and Wadsworth developed their own version of the Bulldog revolver, and other cheaper makes, they were called things like Swamp Angel and Tramp's Terror, and sometimes you'd get those free with a sack of flour. So they were not high-end revolvers, and frankly that was a part of their appeal. Even a good one like this was probably a third of the cost of a new Colt single-action Army or a Smith & Wesson Schofield or American No. 3. So you could arm yourself relatively cheaply and be prepared for whatever life brought to your door. So again, a couple of really interesting small revolvers. Thanks for watching.